Hi. Albie wanted to see our first flutes if we had them. And I do still have mine. This came to me in 2008 after I had wanted a flute starting in the year 2000. It took me 8 years before I got the first flute that I could play successfully. First one I got was trying to convince me that I couldn't play the flute because it just didn't sound musical. Later on, I discovered that it was not made quite right, and anyway, I couldn't make it sound good. It made nice sounds, but it wasn't keyed right, or the tuning wasn't right. In 2007, I was re-educated that indeed I could play the flute, that anyone almost could play the flute. And so the next year, after I was re-educated, I went back to that event, which happened to be a Boy Scout event through the Order of the Arrow. And there was a gentleman there that was teaching about the Native American style flute, and he had some kit flutes. The year before, I didn't have the money to be able to purchase one, or I would have had one a year earlier, and there was no one else around my immediate area that I knew of that had flutes. So I waited a year. 2008, I went back and I bought a kit flute. This is made of Western Red Cedar. It had just a rectangular block, and it took me 6 months before I decided what I was going to carve on there, and I carved a little coyote. I had to shape the mouthpiece the way that I wanted, the way that I thought I wanted it, and I reshaped this portion here a little bit, and the tuning holes were there. It was cut to length. I had to do some sanding, finish sanding, and finishing the basic flute, and I finished the bottom portion of the block so that I could play it. Key of G, and this was a kit flute that was originally made by Dwight of Quiet Bear Flutes, and he no longer makes flutes, so I feel very fortunate that I did get one of his kit flutes that he offered through his own sales and through this other gentleman that did them. Here's the voice. Still love my First Flute. The leather tie is an old leather boot lace that I had because the original tie wasn't going to quite work with the carving that I finally decided that I was going to make. And I've had this almost since I've had, well, since I made the block or carved the block from the little rectangle that it used to be. When I carved this, I had to come up with something different for a tie, and I had this leather one, and it's works great. So hope you like it. Interested to seeing your First Flute also. Please share. Take care.